Welcome along then to Zuera for our second batch of races. It's the second heat for the juniors, the second of 3 races. And there to the left of the picture with the Union flag emblazoned upon his helmet is our pole sitter, number 64, Ollie Caldwell from Great Britain. He races here this weekend with the KR Sport team, and he's looking for a good result after dropping down the order on the final lap of the first race and then picking up a 5-second penalty, amongst other drivers for the front fairing having been pushed in and out of position. He ended up 21st, so he's got to make this one stick. Ollie Caldwell, though, was quick enough in the first race. Mark Kimber, who lines up alongside him, was another driver that picked up a 5-second penalty, so he only finished down in 22nd place in the race in the end. On the second row of the grid, we got Axel Charpentier, who had a good run to 4th place in the first encounter. Tom Canning had a bad result in the first race and was last but one in the end, 27th place for him. Row 3 is an all-Dutch third row with Dylan Buys, number 74, who finished 3rd in heat number 1. And alongside him, the winner of that first race from the third row of the grid was Glenn van Berlo, who we caught up with live on Telemundi TV a few minutes after that first race. Row 4, just to remind you, Joe Phillips and Killian Mayer. Killian's on the inside. He starts in 7th place. Joe's on the outside. He starts in 8th position, so 7th and 8th for Mayer and Phillips, and to complete the top 10, Oscar Paloma-Ortiz and Laszlo Toth. Row 6, we got Tomino Bergmeyer, who went well in the first race. Josep Vea Torrado, once all the penalties had been applied and once he came through the carnage on the last lap, got through to finish in 5th place, so 77 one to watch here. Row 7, we got Laurie Lepper and Andre Volta. Row 8, we got Lucas Dunner and Alejandro Schimpf. Row 9, we got Bardia Bumandagohar, and he's making his debut. Alongside him is Adam Smalley, who was 5th in the championship. And then on the 10th row of the grid, Justin Ferrati and Piotr Wisnicki. That's the top 20. There's going to be one missing. We heard on the radios just before the carts went out that number 75, due to start 26th on the grid, Julian Kawabara-Wag, I'm afraid, is a non-starter. We don't know why yet, but I'm afraid he's not going to start the race. So a huge mix of drivers from different nationalities, not just from Europe. For example, Bardia or Barry Buramond, 13 years of age, from Tehran in Iran. 3 times a champion of Iran, making his debut here this weekend and showing some really good speed so far. So let's see how he gets on in this race. Certainly holding his own at the moment, and a welcome addition to the championship. It's a 7-lap race then. It's the second heat of the day. Glenn van Berlo, Killian Mayer, Dylan Buys, Axel Charpentier and Josep Vea Torrado were the top 5 in the first race. 6th place went to Laurie Lepper. But there are drivers who need a good result here, not least our 2 front row starters, Ollie Caldwell and Mark Kimber. Got to get 2 good heats now to make sure they get a reasonable grid for the pre-final tomorrow. But it's very much achievable. So they're being slowed up now into 2 trains. They can't accelerate until they cross the acceleration line. They can't accelerate hard until they cross the acceleration line, which is the yellow line marked by cones either side, 20 metres before the start-finish line. They cross that, they go through, and they start the race, and it's a good start for Ollie Caldwell. Following him down the inside goes Charpentier. Mark Kimber makes a decent start from the outside. He loses 1 place, but only 1 place. So Mark Kimber tucks in behind in 3rd position. And 1 or 2 others losing places from the outside. Tom Canning making a better start this time. He had dramas in the first race. He got 1 off in the background there. Look, though, at the hairpin at turn 3. Gets going again. But at the front of the field, it is Ollie Caldwell leading the way. Green and white suit, orangish helmet. Axel Charpentier has gone into 2nd place and 3rd position now for the driver that started on the outside of row 1, Mark Kimber. So those 3 come through, marking the number 7 car. It's going to be side by side for 4th place just behind. There's been a change for that position as well. So that switches around at turn 6. Everybody is still running. We lost a couple down the order at the hairpin, but they've managed to keep going or at least restart. So we should have everybody that started the race completing at least the first lap. You see the top 3 making their way through the left-hander at turn 9, into the right-hander at turn 10. And accelerating now. Ollie Caldwell, as he did in the first race, will lead at the end of lap number 1. But Charpentier will pick up a toe, get right onto his rear bumper into turn 1. Mark Kimber hanging onto the tail of them into the 2nd corner. On the brakes they go. And then 4th and 5th absolutely side by side, and possibly a change again. Tom Canning is up against Glenn van Berlo. And I think it's Tom that's got back in front by the looks of it at turn 2. Van Berlo in 5th place, Kilian Meyer next up. A mechanical flag, you can see the graphic on screen, for number 77, Josep Vea Torrado, who finished well up in the top 6 in race 1, finished in 5th place. The black flag, the orange circle, means a mechanical disqualification, so it's not to do with his driving standards. He comes in, I can tell you why, the front nose cone is pointing up in the air, so he'll be allowed back on the track once that's fixed and they're happy with it. But he's sent off for safety reasons off the circuit, has to repair that, and he's probably going to lose a lap. But he's certainly going to drop to the back of the field. So at the head of the pack, there is Ollie Caldwell leading the way. And into 2nd place now has gone Mark Kimber while we're looking at the incident down in the pit lane. 3rd place is Axel Charpentier now. And then it is Tom Canning up to 4th place. Glenn Van Berlo is in 5th. Kilian Meyer, who was 2nd in the earlier race, he's up there in 6th position as well. Tamino Bergmeier making a decent start. Lucas Dunner making a very good start, gaining lots of places, up into 8th place in the number 14 machine. Back out is released underneath the commentary box, the 77 kart of the unfortunate Josep Vea Torrado. So he has lost a lap as we see them all going side by side at the turn 3. At the start of lap number 2, we've got a new race leader. It's Mark Kimber that's gone through. He's been followed by Axel Charpentier. And out of the corner, down to 3rd place, goes the pole sitter, the former race leader, Ollie Caldwell. Tom Canning is right with him in 4th position. Somebody going very slowly, going in towards turn 4. Try and identify that one in a moment. That's number 14. You can see Lucas Dunner has made a very good start to the race. Lucas started the race in the middle of the pack on the 8th row of the grid, but he's already gained lots of places to be up there just outside the top 6. So number 14 going well in this race. What about others that started near the front? Joe Phillips is in 9th place, so he lost some ground on the first lap, but he's still in the top 10 in the number 31 kart. As you see, the leaders coming through. 7 is Kimber, 88 is Charpentier, and then a bit of a gap back to Ollie Caldwell in 3rd place. He's got a queue forming up behind him. Tom Canning, Glenn Van Berlo in that mix. Joining them is Tamino Bergmeier, the German driver. Nose to tail at the front of the field as into the hairpin they go. And is there going to be a change? Is Mark Kimber going to hang on to it? He hangs on to it, holds on to the lead of the race. Ollie Caldwell, though, is coming under attack here. Glenn Van Berlo has got ahead of Tom Canning and now gets ahead of the pole sitter. And they'll go streaming through. No, Caldwell is in there. It's dropping back, I think, was Tom Canning, actually, in the similar livery. But at the head of that second group, very much so, it's Glenn Van Berlo, I think, the winner of the first race. But now coming back at him is the 64 kart of Ollie Caldwell. So great scrap developing here for 3rd place. Caldwell, Canning, Glenn Van Berlo, Bergmeier is in the mix. It's allowing the top 2 to break away. It's still number 7, Mark Kimber, with his nose in front of Axel Charpentier. Both drivers running for the Strawberry Racing team, and they are evenly matched around here. They were pretty close in qualifying. They're pretty close in this race, but Axel coming out of the last turn, look, gets a toe, gets sucked onto the back of the cart. That leads the race, but there's no way through at turn number 1. Back up into 3rd place after the tenacious move is Ollie Caldwell, just running wide there, kicking up the dust, going down into the braking zone for turn 2 is Axel Charpentier. It doesn't seem to cost him any momentum, though, and he stays there in 2nd place as they go down into the hairpin. There are no changes for the top 3. So Caldwell back up to 3rd place, the blue fairing, the blue helmet. That's Glenn Van Berlo in 4th. Tom Canning in 5th place. And then it's Tamino Bergmeier 6th. Lucas Dunner into 7th place now, having started the race in 15th. So he's gained 8 places. Joe Phillips has gained 1 up to 8th. Kilian Meyer 9th. Oscar Paloma Ortiz in 10th place. Laurie Lepper just outside the top 10. So we've had 4.5 laps complete. We're well into the second half of the race. And into the right-hander at turn 8 go our top 2. They're about half a second clear of Ollie Caldwell at the start of the lap. But I think Ollie is closing them down on this lap. He certainly pulled away from Van Berlo in 4th position. They come out of the final turn to complete another lap. And the top 2 crossed the line, not quite nose to tail this time. 66.3, 66.4 for the top 2, 66.0. And a new fastest lap of the race for Ollie Caldwell in 3rd place. So he is catching them by quite some degree as well. He was about 0.3 quicker than the leaders on that lap. There is the confirmation on screen of the new fastest lap time for the driver in 3rd. Van Berlo in 4th place has still got Tom Canning and Tamino Bergmeier just behind him, 5th and 6th. And then a train of karts for 7th, 8th and 9th. Dunner, Phillips, Meyer and Paloma Ortiz. No change at the end of the previous lap. The top 2 then make their way into the left-hander at turn 6. Axel Charpentier has got a decision to make now. Does he sit tight and follow Mark Kimber around, or does he go on the attack, knowing that Ollie Caldwell is coming after the pair of them? On the way into the right-hander, he looks to make a move for the first time in the race. He goes side by side with Mark Kimber. Mark's got the inside line, though, for the next left-hander, but Charpentier's got better traction around the outside and gets the lead of the race. So Charpentier into first position with just a lap and a bit to go now as they come out of the final turn. The last lap board will be held out, and it's Charpentier with the orange and white helmet that leads the way. Second place, Mark Kimber. Third position now for Ollie Caldwell, right with them, as well as Glenn Van Berlo. It's side by side down into the first corner. It's still Charpentier, still with him is Kimber, and then third is Caldwell, just about as I get to the hairpin. But Kimber runs wide coming out of the turn. Glenn Van Berlo gets stuck in the mix, and Glenn Van Berlo goes up into second place. It's Charpentier, Van Berlo, Caldwell third, down to fourth place for the number 7 cart of Mark Kimber, and everybody else has joined them in that group now. It's a frenetic final lap, just as it was in race number 1. Charpentier well out front, Glenn Van Berlo up into second place. Caldwell survives, he's there in third position. That'll be a reasonable result, much better of course than in the first race. And Charpentier is now well clear as they all jostle for this second place with just a couple of corners to go. Van Berlo hanging on to it. Caldwell tucking in behind him in third place, trying to attack and defend from Mark Kimber as well. Into the final corner they will come. There's 1 or 2 moves behind. Killian Mayer is going to lose a place or two at the end of the race. The flag comes out and Charpentier cruises over the line to win. It's close for second, but Van Berlo by half a length fends off Ollie Caldwell. In third place he comes, Mark Kimber fourth, Tamino Bergmeyer fifth, Tom Canning crossed the line in sixth place, Oscar Palomortitz seventh, Lucas Dunner gained 7 places to 8th, and then we didn't talk about him, but coming up into the mix with a tremendous drive, 20 places gained to finish in 9th place, a tremendous drive from the back of the field from Enzo Valente. So Enzo with 20 places gained to come home in 9th place, and 13 places were gained for the driver, Dirk Seifried, that rounded out the top 10. Axel Charpentier then becomes the second different winner of the day. Glenn Van Berlo, though, has had a win and a second now. And if he gets another good result, he's going to be one to watch in terms of the battle to see who gets pole position for the pre-final. Charpentier for Strawberry. For Double R Racing then, it was Van Berlo and Caldwell, the pole sit of Chaos Sport, coming home to complete the top 3 in our second junior heat.